The rain hammered against the windshield as Kavin's hand reached for the gun hidden beneath his jacket. 3 men were closing in on Lara's car, their faces obscured by the Lagos night, but their intentions crystal clear. He had one choice: pull the trigger or watch the woman he loved die. His finger tightened on the metal, and in that split second, everything he'd built, everything he'd lied about, came crashing down around him. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let me tell you how an African woman and a Korean Mafia lieutenant found themselves in a love story that would shatter both their worlds. If you're ready for a story of dangerous love, betrayal, and impossible choices, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment telling me if you'd choose love over safety, and smash that like button because this story is about to get intense. Lara adjusted her daughter's backpack as they walked through the bustling streets of Lagos. The evening sun cast long shadows across the pavement, and the familiar sounds of hawkers and traffic created a symphony she'd known her entire life. Mira, her 6-year-old daughter, skipped beside her, humming a tune from school. "Mommy, can we get suya?" Mira asked, her eyes bright with hope. "Not today, baby. We need to get home before dark," Lara replied, checking her phone. Her shift at the hospital had run late again, and exhaustion tugged at her bones. They were crossing the street when the motorcycle swerved around the corner too fast. Lara's heart lurched as she grabbed Mira, stumbling backward. They would have fallen into the path of an oncoming bus if strong hands hadn't caught them both, steadying them with surprising gentleness. "Are you all right?" The voice was deep, accented with Korean precision, but softened by concern. Lara looked up into the face of the man who would change everything. He was tall, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit that seemed out of place on Lagos streets, with sharp features and eyes that held secrets she couldn't yet name. His hair was styled perfectly despite the humidity, and when he smiled, something in her chest tightened. "Yes, thank you. We're fine," she managed, smoothing down Mira's uniform. "The drivers here are quite aggressive. Please, let me ensure you both reach your destination safely. My car is just there." Lara should have said no, should have recognized the danger in his too perfect appearance, his too convenient arrival. But Mira was tired, and the genuine concern in his eyes seemed real. "I'm Kavin," he said, extending his hand. "I'm here expanding my family's logistics business between Korea and Nigeria." "Lara," she replied, shaking his hand. His grip was firm but careful, the hands of someone who knew his own strength. "Mira," he said, crouching down to Mira's level, pulling a small piece of paper from his pocket. With quick, practiced movements, he folded it into an origami crane. Mira's eyes widened with delight as he placed it in her small palm. "For bravery," he said softly. "You didn't cry, even when you were scared." Something about the gesture, the way he looked at her daughter with such focused attention, melted the last of Lara's resistance. She accepted the ride. The car was luxury itself, leather seats and climate control that felt like heaven after the Lagos heat. Kavin's driver navigated the traffic with practiced ease, while Kavin asked Mira about school, about her favorite subjects, making her giggle with exaggerated surprise at her answers. When they arrived at Lara's modest apartment building, Kavin stepped out to open her door. "Perhaps I could take you both to dinner sometime, to apologize for the scare." Lara hesitated. "I don't usually—" "Just dinner, no pressure," he said, and there was something vulnerable in his expression that made her nod. "All right, just dinner." That night, after putting Mira to bed, Lara called her best friend, Ada. "Girl, you will not believe what happened today," she said, settling onto her worn couch. Ada's voice crackled through the phone, already suspicious. "The way you're sounding, I don't know if I want to know." Lara laughed, telling her about Kavin, about the rescue, about dinner plans for the coming weekend. "A Korean man? In Lagos?" "Lara, something about that no de pure," Ada warned her. These foreign men always get something to hide. Not every man is hiding something.
Every man is hiding something, Ada countered. Just make sure you know what it is before you fall too deep. The dinner date came faster than Lara expected. Kavin took her to an upscale restaurant in Victoria Island, the kind of place where the menu didn't have prices and the waiters spoke in hushed, reverent tones. He pulled out her chair, ordered wine that tasted like velvet, and asked questions that made her feel like the most interesting person in the world. "You're a nurse?" he asked, leaning forward with genuine interest. "For 8 years now, pediatrics mostly. I love working with children." "It shows. The way you are with Mira, she's lucky to have you." Lara felt her cheeks warm. Her father left when she was 2. It's just been us since then. Something flickered in Kavin's eyes, too quick to identify. His loss. Their loss entirely. They talked for hours. He told her about growing up in Busan, about the pressure of family expectations, about choosing to expand internationally to prove himself. It all sounded reasonable, normal even. But there were gaps in his stories, moments where his eyes would go distant, where his phone would buzz and he'd glance at it with an expression she couldn't read. "Do you have to get that?" she asked when it buzzed for the 5th time. "No," he said firmly, turning the phone face down. "Tonight, nothing is more important than this." The weeks that followed felt like a dream. Kavin appeared in her life like magic, showing up after her shifts with food, taking Mira to the park, fitting into their little family with an ease that terrified and thrilled her. He was generous, but never flashy, attentive, but never overwhelming. But the cracks began to show. He would disappear for days without explanation, returning with vague excuses about business meetings in Abuja or Port Harcourt. His phone calls were always in Korean, rapid-fire conversations where his voice would drop to a dangerous octave. And there were the men, always hovering at a distance, dressed in dark suits with bulges under their jackets that Lara tried not to think about. "Kavin, who are those men?" she asked one evening as they sat in his car outside her apartment. "Security. Standard for businessmen in my position." "What kind of logistics requires armed guards?" His jaw tightened. "Lara, please don't worry about them. They're just precautions." But worry had already taken root. So had something deeper. Something that made her breath catch when he smiled, that made her check her phone constantly for his messages, that made Mira ask, "When is Uncle Kavin coming again?" 3 months in, Lara's friends staged an intervention. Ada, Funmi, and Tola sat in her living room, their faces serious. "We need to talk about your Korean boyfriend," Ada began. "He's not my boyfriend. We're just dating exclusively, spending every free moment together, planning trips with your daughter," Tola interrupted. "Lara, that's a relationship." "And we're worried," Funmi added gently. "I've seen those men who follow him. I've asked around. Nobody in the legitimate business community knows anything about his company." Lara's defenses rose. "So because he's foreign and successful, he must be a criminal?" "No," Ada said firmly. "Because he disappears without explanation, because he has armed guards, because something about his whole setup feels wrong. We love you. We're just asking you to be careful." "I am being careful," Lara insisted. But even as she said it, she wondered if it was true. That night, Kavin took her to a private beach. The moon hung low over the Atlantic, casting silver across the waves. He'd arranged a picnic, complete with her favorite foods and soft music playing from hidden speakers. "You're spoiling me," she said, leaning against his shoulder as they sat on the blanket. "You deserve to be spoiled." His arm tightened around her. "Lara, I need to tell you something." Her heart stuttered. "What is it?" He was quiet for so long she thought he might not answer. Then, "I'm falling in love with you. With Mira. With the life you've built. And it terrifies me because—" He stopped, jaw clenched. "Because what?" "Because I don't deserve it. Don't deserve you.
Lara pulled back to look at him, cupping his face in her hands. "Kavin, what are you talking about? Everyone deserves love." He kissed her then, deep and desperate, like a man drowning. And for that moment, she let herself forget the questions, the doubts, the warnings. She let herself just feel. But reality has the way of crashing through even the most beautiful illusions. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon. Lara had borrowed Kavin's car to pick up Mira from school because hers was in the shop. Mira's water bottle had rolled under the passenger seat, and when Lara reached for it, her fingers brushed against something cold and metal. She pulled it out slowly, her breath catching in her throat. A gun. Small, sleek, deadly. And engraved on the handle was a symbol she didn't recognize. Intricate Korean characters surrounding what looked like a dragon eating its own tail. Her hands shook as she photographed it, then carefully placed it back where she'd found it. The drive home was a blur. She kept glancing at Mira in the rearview mirror, her innocent baby singing along to the radio, completely unaware that they'd been riding in a car with a weapon. That evening, when Kavin arrived for dinner as planned, Lara sent Mira to her room to play. "We need to talk," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Kavin's expression shifted immediately, all warmth draining away to be replaced with something guarded and dangerous. "About what?" "About the gun in your car. About who you really are." The silence stretched between them like a chasm. Kavin's jaw worked, his hands clenching and unclenching at his sides. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. "You shouldn't have found that. But I did. So tell me the truth, Kavin. Who are you?" He moved to the window, staring out at the darkening Lagos skyline. "I told you my family was in logistics. That wasn't entirely a lie. We moved things, people, money across borders, just not legally." Lara's legs felt weak. She sank onto the couch. "You're a criminal." "I'm a lieutenant in one of the largest Korean crime syndicates operating in West Africa, the Bakdu cartel. We control shipping routes, protection rackets, underground banking. I was sent here 3 years ago to expand operations." "And me? Mira? Were we just part of your cover?" He whirled around, and the anguish on his face stopped her breath. "No, God, no. You were never supposed to happen. I have rules, Lara. No attachments, no relationships, no complications. The cartel forbids it because love makes you weak, makes you vulnerable. I knew all of this, and then I saw you on that street and I couldn't walk away." "So walk away now," Lara said, tears streaming down her face. "Leave us alone." "I can't." He crossed to her, falling to his knees in front of the couch. "Because they know about you. They've known for weeks, and they've ordered me to eliminate the problem." The world tilted. "Eliminate?" "They want you and Mira dead. They see you as a liability, a weakness that could compromise operations. I've been stalling, lying, telling them I was handling it quietly, but they're losing patience." Laura's hands flew to her mouth, bile rising in her throat. "You're going to kill us?" "No." His hands grasped her as desperate. "Never. I would die first if that's what it takes. But Lara, you have to understand how serious this is. These aren't people who make idle threats. If I don't act, they'll send someone who will."
"Then what do we do?" Her voice broke on the question. "I have a plan. I told them Mira isn't mine, that she's from your previous relationship. They don't target children who aren't connected to the organization. But you, they still see you as a problem. I need time to figure out how to get you somewhere safe, somewhere they can't reach you." "I don't understand any of this," Lara sobbed. "How is this my life? I'm a nurse. I take care of sick children. I don't belong in your world." "I know. I'm so sorry. I never should have approached you that day, but I did, and now I need to fix what I've broken." He pulled her into his arms, and despite everything, despite the fear and betrayal, she let him hold her. "I swear on everything I have, I will protect you, even if it costs me my life." From the doorway, a small voice asked, "Mommy, why are you crying?" They both froze. Mira stood there in her pajamas, clutching the origami crane Kavin had given her that first day, her eyes wide and confused. Lara pulled away from Kavin, wiping her face quickly. "It's okay, baby. Mommy just had some sad news about a patient. Go back to bed. I'll be there in a minute." After Mira reluctantly left, Kavin stood, his expression hardened with resolve. "I'm moving you tomorrow, both of you. I have a safe house in Lekki, owned by a Korean expatriate who owes me favors. You'll stay there until I can arrange something more permanent." "I can't just leave my life, my job." "Your life won't matter if you're dead," he said harshly, then softened. "Please, Lara, trust me one more time. Let me save you." That night, after Kavin left with promises to return at dawn, Lara called Ada. "You were right," she said without preamble, "about everything." She told her friend the whole story, watching Ada's face cycle through shock, anger, and fear on the video call. "Lara, you need to go to the police," Ada insisted. "And tell them what? That my boyfriend is in the Mafia? They'll either not believe me or they'll arrest him, and then the cartel will definitely come after us. At least with Kavin we have protection. Protection from the man who brought danger to your door in the first place? I know how it sounds, but Ada, I believe him when he says he'll protect us. I have to believe him, because I don't have any other options." "Then at least let me and the girls help. Give me everything you know about him, his associates, his company. We'll dig, quietly. Maybe there's something we can use." Lara nodded, grateful for friends who wouldn't abandon her, even when she'd walked knowingly into disaster. The move to the safe house happened before sunrise. Kavin arrived with two of his men, their faces expressionless, as they loaded Lara and Mira's hastily packed bags into an unmarked van. The safe house was a modern apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean, beautiful and isolated. "You'll be safe here," Kavin said, checking the locks on the doors and windows. "These men will stay outside. They're loyal to me personally, not the cartel. Don't open the door for anyone else." Mira explored the new space with a child's adaptability, but Lara could see the confusion in her eyes. "Mummy, why did we leave our home? We're just staying here for a little while, like a vacation." After Mira fell asleep that night, Kavin and Lara sat on the balcony, the sound of waves filling the silence between them. "How long?" she asked. "I don't know. I'm working on getting you papers, new identities, maybe South Africa or Ghana, somewhere the cartel's reach isn't as strong." "And you?" "I stay here. I maintain the illusion that I have handled the problem, that you've left Lagos of your own accord and we have parted ways." "That's not a life." "It's the only life I have." He took her hand, threading his fingers through hers. "Lara, I need you to do something for me." "What?" "Contact Mira's father. Send her to him." Lara jerked her hand away. "Absolutely not! He abandoned us. He doesn't get to suddenly be a parent now." "He's not in danger. She will be if she stays with you. Please think about this logically. If something happens to me, if my plan fails, Mira needs to be somewhere the cartel can't touch her." The thought of sending her daughter away felt like having her heart ripped out. But as Lara looked at Kavin's face, at the genuine terror barely masked by his calm exterior, she knew he was right. "I'll think about it," she whispered. The next week passed in a strange limbo. Kavin visited when he could, always checking over his shoulder, always tense.
Meanwhile, Ada, Funmi, and Tola had been busy. They'd followed Kavin's men, photographed license plates, tracked shipment schedules from the logistics company. Funmi, who worked in tech, had even managed to clone data from a phone one of Kavin's associates had carelessly left on a restaurant table. "This is bigger than we thought," Ada told Lara during a secret phone call. "They're not just moving goods. There are connections to human trafficking rings, arms deals, money laundering operations across 5 countries. Lara's stomach turned. Kavin said logistics. He didn't mention people. Maybe he didn't want you to know how deep it goes. Or maybe he's not telling you everything. That night, Lara confronted him. "Are you trafficking people?" Kavin's silence was answer enough. "Not directly, but the organization, yes. We facilitate movement for other groups. I don't touch that side of operations, but I know it happens." "And you're okay with that?" His laugh was bitter. "Okay with it? Lara, I'm not okay with any of this. I was born into this life. My father was a member, his father before him. By the time I was old enough to understand what it meant, I was already too deep to get out. You leave the cartel in a body bag, or not at all. Then let's run, all 3 of us, disappear. They'll find us. They always do. The only reason we have any time at all is because I'm valuable to them. The moment I become a liability, we're all dead." 2 days later, everything fell apart. Lara was making breakfast when she heard tires screech outside. Through the window she saw a black sedan pull up, and 3 men emerged. These men weren't Kavin's guards. These men move with predatory precision, their intentions clear in every step. She grabbed Mira, pulling her into the bedroom and locking the door. Her hands shook as she dialed Kavin's number. "They're here," she whispered. "3 men, not yours." "I'm 15 minutes away. Hide! Don't make a sound!" She could hear him running, shouting orders in Korean. The apartment door exploded inward. Lara pressed her hand over Mira's mouth as footsteps moved through the living room. Heavy, methodical, searching. "We know you're here," a voice called out in accented English. "Come out and this will be quick. Make us search and it won't be." Mira whimpered against Lara's palm. The footsteps grew closer to the bedroom door. Lara looked around desperately for a weapon, anything. Her fingers closed around a heavy ramp. The door handle turned. Then, gunshots erupted from outside. Shouting in Korean, the sound of bodies hitting the ground. The men in the apartment ran toward the noise, and Lara seized the moment. She grabbed Mira and ran for the back balcony, climbing over the railing she'd noticed days ago. They were halfway down when Kavin appeared at the bottom, his gun drawn, his shirt splattered with blood. "Come on, move!" They hit the ground running. Kavin pushed them into his car as more gunfire echoed from the apartment. His driver was already moving before the doors fully closed, tires screaming as they tore through the streets. "What happened?" Lara gasped, clutching Mira to her chest. "Someone talked. Someone in my organization told the cartel leadership I was stalling. They sent a hit squad." His face was grim, his knuckles white on the gun in his lap. "We can't stop. We drive until we reach the border." "Which border?" "Benin Republic. I have contacts there who can get you to Ghana, then South Africa. New passports, new names, new life." "What about you?" "I'm a dead man either way. But if I can get you out first, it'll be worth it." They drove through the night, switching vehicles twice, using back roads and routes only locals knew. Mira cried herself to sleep in Lara's arms, and Lara found herself studying Kavin's profile in the darkness. "I should hate you," she said quietly. "You should." "But I don't." "Is that insane?" He glanced at her, and in his eyes she saw the same impossible truth she felt. "Probably. But I love you anyway, both of you. If I could go back and choose differently, choose to never meet you to keep you safe, I don't know if I could do it. That's the most selfish and romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. I'm a selfish man who found something worth dying for. That's all I am now." They were 40 kilometers from the border when the roadblock appeared. Nigerian police vehicles, but Kavin tensed immediately. That's not regular police. They're too organized. The cartel has people everywhere. What do we do? I get out and handle it. You stay in the car with Mira. No matter what, stay down. But as they approached, more vehicles appeared from the darkness. Real police this time, surrounding them from all sides. An amplified voice called out in English and Yoruba, "Exit the vehicle with your hands visible." Kavin met Lara's eyes one last time. This is it. Your friends. They must have called authorities. Kavin! It's okay. This is better. You'll be safe now. He handed her his phone. There's a contact in there, Kim Jin-woo. He owes me his life. Show him the dragon symbol. Tell Kavin's last request is your protection. He'll get you somewhere safe. I don't want to be safe without you. You have to be, for her. He looked at Mira, sleeping peacefully despite everything. Promise me you'll give her the life she deserves. Promise me. I promise, Lara sobbed. Kavin stepped out of the car, hands raised. Within seconds, officers swarmed him, forcing him to his knees. Lara watched through tears as they cuffed him, as they read him rights in English and Korean, as international law enforcement badges flashed in the headlights. An officer approached the car, her face kind. Ma'am, you're safe now. We've been tracking this organization for 2 years. Your friends provided the evidence we needed to move in. What will happen to him? He's wanted in 4 countries for organized crime, trafficking, conspiracy, money laundering, and multiple counts of assault. He'll face justice. As they led Kavin away, he turned back once. Their eyes met across the distance, and Lara saw everything he couldn't say. I'm sorry. I love you. Be free. Then he was gone, loaded into a heavily armored vehicle, disappeared into the system that would cage him for the rest of his life. The aftermath was a blur. Interpol debriefed Lara for days. Ada, Funmi, and Tola had worked with Nigerian and Korean authorities, providing evidence that led to the arrest of 37 cartel members across West Africa. The Baktu cartel's operations in the region collapsed overnight. Lara made the hardest call of her life, contacting Mira's father. To his credit, he didn't hesitate. He flew to Lagos immediately, tears in his eyes as he held his daughter for the first time in 4 years. They agreed on shared custody, on building something new. If you've made it this far in this incredible journey, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me what you would have done in Lara's position, and like this video so more people can find this story. 6 months later, Lara stood in her apartment, the same one she'd left in fear. The city hummed outside her window, familiar and strange all at once. She'd returned to her job, to her life, but everything felt different now. Ada sat with her, both women drinking tea, as Mira played in the next room, the sound of her laughter like a balm on old wounds. Have you heard anything? Ada asked gently. I know. He's in a maximum security facility in South Korea, 25 years minimum. He sent me one letter through his lawyer. What did it say? I pulled it from her pocket, the paper worn from repeated reading. It said, you kept your promise, that's all that matters. Live freely, love again, forget me. This is my last gift to you. Will you forget him? I looked out at the city, at the streets where a Korean man had once saved me from falling, not knowing he'd eventually push me into a different kind of abyss. No, but I'll live anyway. That's the gift I give myself. Mira ran in, showing them a new drawing of a house with flowers and stick figures holding hands. Look, Mummy, it's our happy family. Lara pulled her daughter into her lap, breathing in the scent of her shampoo, feeling her solid weight, her realness. She'd survived. They had survived, and that would have to be enough. Because some love save us, and some destroy us. But the ones we survive, the ones that break us open and force us to rebuild ourselves stronger, those are the ones that shape who we become. Lara had been broken, but she'd also been reborn,
forged in the fire of impossible choices and dangerous love. She'd learned that safety sometimes comes at the cost of everything you want, that protection can wear the face of betrayal, and that the line between salvation and destruction is sometimes no thicker than a heartbeat. She loved a criminal. She'd been saved by her friends. She'd sacrificed her heart for her daughter's future, and she'd emerged on the other side, scarred but standing, wounded but whole. That evening, after Ada left and Mira was tucked into bed with stories and kisses, Lara stood at her window one last time. Somewhere across the world, in a cell she'd never see, Kavin was probably looking at the same moon. She sent him a silent message across the distance, a final goodbye to the man who loved her the only way